Okay, let's go. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jodee Jernigan, and I'm a UX strategist, but I'm also a genealogist. I've been researching my family history for the past 15 years now. And a lot of times when I tell people that I'm into genealogy, they give me kind of strange looks because they kind of view genealogy as sort of a little old lady hobby. But actually, I really enjoy it because it combines so many of my interests, family, research, and also history and geography, and also, believe it or not, technology. And when I started thinking about UX and genealogy, really how they're similar is that you're researching your unknown ancestor, which is very similar to how you're researching your unknown user. And then when I started looking at my family tree, I realized, wow, it looks just like a website IA diagram. And that's what led me to the first thing that I really learned, is that in genealogy, you really want to start with yourself at the bottom of your tree and work your way up. So the same thing with UX. You want to start with the content that you have and really build that hierarchy up rather than going from top to bottom. You also want, in genealogy, to take inventory of what you have, be it family records, photos, documents, really kind of find out where the gaps are. It's very similar to UX, where you're looking at what content you have, what you already know about your users, and then that way you can start asking questions to fill in those gaps. And it's really important in genealogy to ask questions of the oldest people in your family, your grandparents, because they can tell you a lot of things that you don't know. Very similar in UX, you want to ask your stakeholders questions. You want to start asking them, especially front-facing stakeholders, people who deal with sales reps or anyone who deals with your users can really help fill in those blanks for you so that you can learn more about your users. And you also want to make a plan. Once you know what you don't know, it's really important to kind of articulate what you want to find out. So asking yourself the big questions, what do I want to learn? And in UX, what is the problem that I want to solve? So really important to articulate those goals. And in genealogy, we always talk about avoiding the bright, shiny object, which is that new research line that you start researching that can kind of really distract you from your end goal. And it's very similar in UX, where suddenly everybody wants this new feature, and you have to ask yourself, like, is this really helping our users? Is this really solving their problems? Or is it just a BSO, a bright, shiny object? You also, in genealogy, you want to find the story in your data. It's very easy in genealogy to just assemble a bunch of names and dates, but they really don't mean anything until you start writing the story of your ancestors and creating a narrative approach, and that really makes a rich family history. It's very similar in UX. You want to really create rich personas and scenarios that really articulate who your users are and tell their story so that other people can learn from you. You also want to pay attention to context. When you research your ancestors, finding out what was going on in the world that they lived in, where they lived in, the time that they lived in, can really help you understand who they are and what their goals are and what they were struggling with. It's very similar with users. You want to know like what your users are doing, what devices they're using, what's in their frame of mind, really getting into their head and understanding what they're doing. Also with genealogy, you really want to pay attention to the hunches, because they can really help you go into new directions and they can open up new lines of thinking. So hunches are always really good to explore those new avenues, but you always want to find your proof and everything. You always want to find evidence to prove what you're finding. And it's very similar with UX. You can go into hunches, and I think my users are going to like this, but you want to really back that up with user analytics or user testing to really verify those hunches. And you also want to pay attention to documenting your findings. This is really important to avoiding rework. So, keeping track, having a research log so that you know what searches you did and what avenues that you tried, so that later on you can kind of document why something didn't work out. And it's very similar in UX. You really want to sort of document those design decisions, those research decisions, so that you're not doing rework later and you know what didn't work and what did. And finally, you really want to share your discoveries. Publish your family tree online. Distant cousins will find you and use your work and build on your work. And it's the same with our UX community. Coming to events like this, sharing what you learn, publishing what you learn is very important. So I hope that helps. Thanks.